Okay, so hello, I'm Ling. I am a freelance copywriter under my very professional outfit of Lingo, whichever side that is. And on the other side, I do Blag, which is a blog about blagging it in the creative industry that's about career confessions. Yeah, just kind of like real talk and hot topics, essentially. But more importantly than that, I am a Buffy fan, big Buffy fan. So I think watching the show as a kid raised me into a real sort of empowered woman, sassy pants, and also was a big part in the kind of writer I am now. I've just started again at season 1. It's about my 6th re-binge of Buffy. And in the current climate, it's basically got me thinking about all the themes of the show. So for anyone who hasn't been welcomed to the Hellmouth yet, Buffy is pretty much Scooby-Doo, but with less kid-friendly themes. So Sunnydale equals American Dreamville, but it's also a hotbed for demonic activity. Buffy is a 16-year-old with a vampire slayer calling, and high school is a hellmouth where bad things happen. So the point of this tenuously tied to COVID-19 talk, what Buffy taught us about facing the apocalypse. So I'm going to try and avoid any major spoilers, but there might be some teasers along the way. But before we get into it, I'm going to attempt to do a 20-second synopsis of every Buffy apocalypse. Okay. 1, very mean vampire tries to open the Hellmouth and destroy the world. 2, Buffy's boyfriend opens a vortex that will suck the world into hell. 3, an apocalypse cult tries to fulfill a world-ending prophecy. 4, demons try to open the Hellmouth again. 5, evil goddess tears down walls between dimensions. All hell literally breaks loose. 6, Buffy's best mate turns into a bad witch, dark art person. 7, primitive evil opens the Hellmouth. Yes, again. So the first thing that we need to know about Buffy is that through all the chaos and the emotional roller coaster, there's always time for funnies. Even in the face of very imminent danger, the wit is as sharp as the weapons. And I think that's such an amazing tool for any kind of adversity. Buffy is a sarcastic sass fest from start to finish, with comebacks and quips galore, which I'm sure kind of rings a bell when we think about our feeds and our WhatsApp groups and everything that's coming through at the moment. But if you're struggling to keep up with meme culture, then Buffy is an absolute masterclass. So a bit of a side note, Buffy has its own kind of language, slangwich, as nerds call it, and I could literally write a whole dissertation on it. And there's so many Buffyisms that have made their way into our culture. But here's a cool fact: it's the first ever television use of Googled as a verb. So you can't stay sane solo. Buffy may be the chosen one, but the whole she'll only face the vampires alone thing goes out of the window pretty much in series 1, because she has her Scooby Gang. And Buffy has proved that in a pandemic, it's time to lean into your pals, but like figuratively speaking, obviously. Like when an Inca mummy gets unmummified and starts sucking the life out of high school boys to stay pretty, or when the town mayor sells his soul and tries to gate crash graduation, and in the fan favourite, when a dancing demon makes the whole of Sunnydale into a musical. No matter how scary, the Scooby Gang are in it together. And I think that's really important to remember. And the other thing is no one in Buffy the Vampire Slayer has a side hustle. When they're not surviving the constant ending of the world, they're not worrying about, could I have started this kind of startup if I just spun more plates? They're not worrying about learning languages. So why are we at the moment worrying about, should I be building my empire? In the Sunnydale high school years, most of the characters just about scrape through high school without getting expelled, and they pretty much narrowly avoid death getting to prom night. So any spare time they have is used to chill the fuck out and just be happy, because tomorrow they don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be some new big bad evil. University college Buffy version finds her sharing her space for the first time with her roommate, and every bit of noise, heavy breath, annoying little habit pushes her closer to the edge, which I'm sure sounds familiar for lots of us at the minute. But does she seek distraction by trying to go viral or starting a podcast? No, she puts her headphones in and then proves her roommate was a demon. And then finally, Buffy has to juggle shifts at the Double Meat Palace with parenting duties while still keeping in shape and keeping in touch with their mates. So the moral of the story is we've all got a lot on our plates. If there's a chance to take it easy, then take it. Buffy would. And then finally, here comes the link to the united theme of tonight's talk, tenuous as it may be. It's a sassy show and the fashion is so good that it became bad and now it's back to being good again. But Buffy has so much more to say than that. behind all the kind of like noughties and 90s references, it's really still relevant now, and it's kind of like why it's one of the only shows that's not getting rebooted. So it may seem like a high school drama, but it's ultimately about this band of misfits uniting time and time again against a common evil in whatever way they can, with whatever skills they have and whatever spirit they can kind of bring to the fight. And so this current pandemic isn't like an apocalypse Buffy has ever faced. And I think actually if it was an episode, it would be incredibly dull, because there'd be no big special effects monster, there'd be no shared scenes at all, there'd be no kind of big weapons, no killer outfits. It would be very anti-Buffy, which is great for us. So just hide. So whilst I like to think that in the face of an apocalypse with raging vampires and zombies, all the body combat classes that I've done secretly pretending to be Buffy would pay off. But the reality is, it might not feel badass, but for most of us, this fight is being fought from our sofas. And that's really a pretty sweet deal. We get to save the day by slaying lockdown life and keeping the real heroes, our NHS and key workers, as safe as we possibly can. So I like to think of the spread of coronavirus as our very own hellmouth, and we have to stop it being opened up on the world. And one last bit of Buffy wisdom, I think I've tried to go a little bit too highbrow for Buffy, is that when all this is over, whenever that may be, and when it's officially sanctioned, we get to party. So now back to people who are actually doing more than just binge watching from their sofas, but hopefully that's been something else in the mix.